The Travel Transformation Podcast is proud to be partnered with Give the Goodness Global, an amazing global outreach project helping families in need all over Southeast Asia and beyond. Please check them out at Instagram.com/Give the Goodness Global today. And now on to the podcast episode.
Welcome to the Travel Transformation Podcast, where we talk all things travel and all things transformation, exploring the life-changing potential of solo travel, intentional travel, and location-independent working. Whether you're an aspiring digital nomad or simply wish to boost your confidence through epic travel experiences, I'm here to motivate and inspire you to go after all your wildest dreams. I'm Jessica Grace Coleman, author, certified travel coach, founder of the Travel Transformation Company, and your host for the Travel Transformation Podcast. Travel changed my life. Now let's change yours. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Travel Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Jess, or Jessica Grace Coleman, which is my full name, my author name that I use, and my business name. It is my actual name, but you can call me Jess. Welcome to this quick solo episode called What is Intentional Travel and How Can It Help You Transform Your Life? I'm all about intentional travel. If you can listen to any of my other episodes, really, I talk about how I've used travel as a tool to boost my confidence, step outside my comfort zone, conquer my fears and limiting beliefs, and basically transform myself and my life. And I'm not exaggerating. I wrote the whole story down in my book, Intentional Travel Transformation. You can find that on Amazon, for the Nook, for the Kobo, for the Kindle. You can get paperbacks on iBooks, all those good places. And you can head to traveltransformationcoach.com/books to get all those links and to find out more. That is my most recent book that I wrote last year after my transformative intentional trip to Spain and France. So you can read that book to find out what intentional travel is, but basically it's going traveling. And this doesn't mean you have to go halfway around the world. It could be a trip down the road, just as long as you're doing something new. It's going traveling with an intention to do something, basically. So I went with the intention of overcoming my fear of public speaking. I was going to a co-living house where I knew you could do workshops and putting yourself out there, your business out there, things like that. Any kind of public speaking I've had issues with. So I knew that I could use this opportunity to help myself overcome that, and also overcome my general fears of meeting new people. I'm hugely introverted, very shy, very quiet. And I knew that it would boost my confidence. I knew that solo travel would boost my confidence anyway. I was doing this all solo. And I went in with the intention to overcome my fears and limiting beliefs. And that's exactly what I did. So it's going traveling with a solid intention to overcome something that's holding you back, or to work on something you know you need to work on, say your confidence. Or perhaps you need to learn about yourself or learn about other cultures to gain a bigger perspective on your life. It can be so many different things. And I've talked about this a lot, and like I say, it's in my book. I thought I'd go through just a few pointers on this episode to help you plan your intentional travel trip, really. So the first thing is purposeful goal setting. So intentional travel starts with setting clear goals and intentions for your journey, like I mentioned. So this involves asking yourself why you want to travel to this particular place, and what you hope to gain from the experience. Or you can pick a particular place because you want to gain something from it that relates to that place. So if you are terrified of swimming or of water, and you want to overcome that because it's holding you back from going on nice family holidays and hanging out at the beach, maybe you would go to an island. You wouldn't go to a landlocked country, probably. So where you go can depend on what you want to overcome, and vice versa. So whether it's cultural immersion, self-reflection, adventure, or a combination of all these things, defining your purpose sets the tone for the entire trip. And I did a podcast episode a few weeks ago now, I think, called The 8 Types of Transformative Travel Trips. That is number 104. You can go to traveltransformationcoach.com/104 to get all the links to that and the transcript and everything. And those are all types of intentional trips and all types of ways you can transform by going on these particular transformative travel trips. Always hard to say, but you can listen to that to get some more ideas as well. So the next thing is mindful planning and research. So rather than relying solely on popular tourist attractions, on things that are like obviously in the guidebooks, intentional travelers can engage in thorough research about their destination. And this doesn't just mean attractions, like I said. It can mean understanding the local culture, history, customs and traditions, learning all about local artists and local businesses that you can visit, and basically mindful planning, not just planning using your usual guidebook. If you've got lots of travel buddies or people who've been traveling to that place, ask for their recommendations. And also when you're there, ask the locals for their recommendations. Be intentional about where you spend your money, help out the local economy, go to the mom and pop stores rather than big chains if you want to help out the locals, all that good stuff. The next thing is choosing destinations aligned with your goals. So like I said, if you want to overcome your fear of swimming, you might want to go to an island. So intentional travelers carefully select destinations that align with their travel objectives and what they want to overcome or what they want to work on. So it's not just about ticking off items from a travel bucket list, but choosing places that resonate with personal values and contribute to the desired experience. And again, this could be physical things like a certain place that offers courses in what you want to do, like scuba diving courses or surfing courses or whatever to overcome your fears of the water. Or it could be more of a mindset thing. You want to go somewhere that is relaxed and full of nature, and perhaps your intention is to go and gain clarity on your life and you want to journal and meditate and reflect and all that stuff. You probably don't want to go to a big bustling city where there's lots of distractions. And obviously these days you can go on lots of mindset retreats, wealth retreats. That you probably can go on wealth retreats. I meant well-being health retreats. I'm sure you can. There's lots of money mindset stuff out there. You can go on all kinds of things. So give it a Google. If you don't know if it exists or not, give it a Google. You might be surprised. The next thing is conscious accommodation choices. I can't get my words out today. Conscious accommodation choices. So accommodation can actually play a crucial role in intentional travel. I've talked about this a lot. So instead of opting for generic hotels, chain hotels, you can choose places that enhance your overall experience. So this could be boutique hotels, boutique hostels. They're a big thing now. Perhaps it's an Airbnb staying actually with a family. There's an app called Her House. If you're a female traveller, solo female traveller, you can stay with locals and get to know their friends, and they can show you around and you can save money. And like I've said a million times on this podcast, co-livings can be great places to work on yourself, because a lot of them are inherently always talking about mindset and self-development and business development and personal growth and all that good stuff. So if you're actively trying to work on yourself, co-living places can be a great place to go. And you don't always have to be a digital nomad or have your own business to stay at these places. You could be, I've met people there who have been working on passion projects or who have been on sabbatical and they're taking time to figure out what they want to do. So a lot of these places, you don't have to be working remotely. You could just go for a break and work on yourself.
Do you want to learn all about the 5 travel transformation principles, including how to conquer your fears through travel? Then you need to grab a copy of my Travel Transformation Guide, written by me, Jessica Grace Coleman, as part of my Flip the Script Academy. It's totally free. All I ask for in exchange is your email address so I can keep you updated on all things travel and transformation. Just head to traveltransformationcoach.com/free guide to get your guide today. And now, let's get back to the Travel Transformation Podcast.
So the next one is environmentally conscious transportation. So it's about being intentional with what you want to gain from the trip, but it's also about being intentional when you're there. Obviously, traveling there's a whole thing with like your carbon footprint and all that kind of stuff. There's obviously lots of things to think about there. But also when you're actually at a place, you can opt for more eco-friendly modes of transportation, such as trains and buses, ride shares and stuff like that, if you feel comfortable doing that. If you're with someone else, perhaps. You can do lots of research on eco-friendly ways of travel and sustainable tourism. So have that in mind and be intentional about where you go, about what you're consuming, about who you're giving money to, like I say, about where you're spending your money, and how you're learning about the people who are there. So the next thing to think about is flexibility and spontaneity. So I love planning things. I love having an itinerary. I love having a jam-packed itinerary, honestly, but I've been trying to learn to add in space for other stuff, leaving room for spontaneity, especially if you're traveling. You don't know who you're going to meet, where they're going to go. They might be going on an amazing trip and you're going to tag along. Some of the most memorable and transformative moments can occur when you're veering off the planned path. And I have experienced this over and over again. So keep that in mind when you're planning your trip. Okay, so the next thing is engagement with local communities. Like I said, talking to locals, find out where they go, where they shop, where they eat is great. But also if you can connect with them on a different level. So participate in cultural events, gain insights into their daily lives, and just build genuine connections. It can add a depth and authenticity to your travel experience. And if you're intentional about getting to know people, it can just enhance your trip 1,000%. Highly recommend it. And in a similar vein to that, the next bit is cultural sensitivity and respect. Now, if you're an avid traveller, I'm sure you respect cultures anyway. And Google maybe ahead of time to see what kind of things you need to know about a certain area, about their traditions. For instance, when I went to Thailand, I looked up stuff about how to talk to people, like how to greet certain people. If people are older than you, there's a different way to do it. Your hand gestures can mean different things in different countries. Something can mean mean a perfectly normal thing in your culture. It could be very offensive in someone else's culture. So these the kind of things you need to know about local customs, etiquette, traditions. It enriches your experience, might stop you from getting arrested, but it also fosters positive interactions with the community. And as I said, engaging with the local community can enhance your trip so much. So yeah, just give it a Google. Ask ChatGPT, what do I need to be aware of when visiting this country? Things like that. The next one is reflective practices. So I always highly encourage you to journal, meditate, talk to ChatGPT, or just take a moment of quiet contemplation to process what you're doing, where you're going, who you're meeting, your experiences, and more importantly, the insights you've gained during the journey. So you can keep a diary, you can keep an online journal, you might be doing a vlog, TikTok videos, anything to keep track of what you're doing, what you're feeling, how it's affecting you. Because write it all down or, record it, whatever, because it will help you in the future when you look back over it. And if you share it with others, it might help them too, to see how they can use travel as a tool for transformation. So reflect, record, and pass it on. And the last thing is to seek meaningful experiences. So you're going in with the solid intention, but that's not enough. You need to keep that intention in mind throughout your trip. And instead of just pursuing superficial or fleeting experiences, intentional travelers tend to seek depth and meaning in their journey. I can literally take any situation, anything I've done, any TV show I've watched, any book I've read, and inject it with meaning, whether the person who created it they meant to have that meaning and they're not. I don't know if this is a good thing that I can do this, but I can literally take anything and sort of connect it to my own life and find a meaning in there, find a message in there. And I think this is important when we're traveling while we're there, and also looking back, like I say, to seek meaningful experiences, but also reflect on the meaning you think that thing had for you. Why was that experience so amazing? Was it because you were connecting with others on a deep level? Was it because you felt like part of a group, part of a community, part of something bigger than yourself? Was it because you saw things from a different perspective, because you saw how other people were living and you were comparing that to yourself and the things you take for granted every day, and it made you feel grateful? Write down what was meaningful about it, and then you'll know what to look out for in the future. So go in with a solid intention, focus on that, but also overall, generally, just search for meaning everywhere you can and reflect on it and tell other people about it. People always love hearing about people's transformation, and they love getting inspired by people who have gone and done awesome things in exotic locations. But again, it doesn't have to be an exotic location. It can be in your home country, even in your hometown. I talk about travel transformation principles, which you can use at any point. And yeah, just be meaningful, be intentional, and don't forget to have fun. Have an awesome time. So essentially, intentional travel is a holistic and conscious approach to exploring the world and yourself. It transforms the act of traveling from a checklist of destinations to a purposeful and enriching journey that contributes to personal development, cultural understanding, and a deeper connection with the world. And why wouldn't you want that? So let me know if you have found this useful. I have come up with a few ideas. Like I said, if you want to work on personal development, I highly recommend going to pretty much any co-living. Just check that they do kind of skill shares and workshops and things like that. That usually tells you that they are into self-development, personal growth, all that kind of thing. Let's think. So you could immerse yourself in a culture. You could go to, say, Kyoto, Japan, and this is on my list. I was meant to go there a few years ago, but it got cancelled, sadly. So immerse yourself in traditional Japanese culture. You could attend tea ceremonies, explore historical temples, and participate in local festivals. You can just imagine going to somewhere like Japan, you can't help but be immersed in the local culture. And I would highly recommend researching as much as you can before you go about customs, things you should be aware of, all that kind of stuff. You could also go on like a self-care and well-being trip to places like Bali, Indonesia. Lots of digital nomads there, and it's also obviously well known for yoga, wellness, healthy food, nature reserves, all that good stuff. You could go somewhere like Athens in Greece, delve into the ancient history there, visit all the archaeological sites, the museums, the historical landmarks, take guided tours, and like I say, do lots of research beforehand. And it could be something as simple as going with an intention to learn more about a place. Because in learning more about a place, especially the history of that place, you can apply what you've learned to your own life, to what you want out of life. And like I say, I personally can take any experience and come up with some kind of message for myself and my own life. So I get into the habit of that after every day or every trip or every tour or every experience. Think, what have I learned and how can I apply it to my life? Be intentional with everything you do, whether it's travel related or not, and I promise you, you will get so much more out of life. That's it for this episode. Thank you for listening, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you for listening to the Travel Transformation Podcast with me, Jessica Grace Coleman. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, rate and review, and spread the word, because it's my mission to help as many people as possible to flip the script on their lives and transform through travel. And remember, life is short, so let's make sure it's nothing short of amazing. Until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.